the position he's been given in this incoming administration.
Well, he wrote a book saying that Tony Fauci and I kill millions of children and make billions of dollars with vaccines. And, people can judge for themselves whether that's correct or not.
Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. James chapter 5, verse 1, 2, and 3. Shabbat Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachak Kodash, and double honors to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Aharon coming back at you with another lesson. Lo will and be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and I'm going to go into this article here. It's all going into what is known as Agenda 2030. Okay, really started off with Agenda 21. All right, going into the agenda of sustainable development goals and so on and so forth. And now we are heading about what they call 5 years away from so-called Agenda 2030. And we've known since 2021 and even prior, all right, that these devils have this sinister plan to have the whole entire population not only depopulated, but whoever is left will live under this totalitarian Orwellian government, so to speak, all right, where people are slaves to robots and technology, and pretty much you own nothing and you'll be happy. Okay, and they want to establish that as the so-called New World Order, but we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and according to prophecy that will not happen. Okay, they are not going to get to the point where they have complete control over the whole entire earth. They've depopulated the earth. Everybody's micro-C-hipped. You're merging humans and with robots and so on. So that's it's a vain thought. Okay, it's a vain thing, as is written in the book of Psalms, right? Why did the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Okay, but here this article, again, part of their vain ideas, they actually work towards these things. Okay, they have plans that they actually bring into effect. Okay, as is written in the book of Micah. Let's get that real quick, and then we're going to jump right into this. Okay, and everything is being exposed, being that we're in the last days, man. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai sent his holy men, the prophets, to come out here and tell the truth as is, so that the elect can hear it and repent and be delivered. And also as a form of condemnation against those who don't listen, the wicked of our people. All right, and the rest of the nations that are all over here committing all these types of wickedness, man. Because ultimately when that judgment comes upon America, Babylon the Great, it doesn't matter if you're of a different nation. If you don't get beamed up, you get destroyed. Everyone in this place is going to be destroyed. All right. So this is the book of Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Okay. So that's, again, the secret counsel of the wicked, right? They come together, right, behind closed doors. All right. They come up with all these schemes and wicked ideas, and then they bring it out into the public, and then they enforce it, right, in the most wicked ways. Okay, all through deception, lies, all right, violence. Esau, that's what he's all about. Okay, but this article here says Gill Bates, Arizona smart city scheme exposed. All right, wildfire insurance scandal fuels a billionaire land grab. All right, and we know, all right, that Gill Bates has been heavy in purchasing a lot of land out in the Midwest, all towards the western parts of Babylon. Okay, and he's been doing quite a lot of purchasing. So if he owns pretty much a lot of this land, it's just a matter of time before he starts kicking people off the land. All right, they have to do it in a way that doesn't cause too much of a ruckus. But people are waking up to this stuff, man. And that's why they're very, very big on social media policing. You know, they're charging social media platforms for what people say on those platforms. So that's pretty much what it is. If you don't police your platforms and you allow people to be free and say all these things, you know, then we're gonna have to come after you, right? Yo, Bates is the same nigga that came out and said that people are free on the internet. You know, like in person, they're not gonna say some of these things that people are saying on the internet because there is no identity tied to your identity or your profile on the internet. You know, so people are free to say and do whatever they want, you know, without any consequences, right? So their job is, okay, now what we have to do is we have to create a platform or create the platform where in order to be on there, you know, you have to have your identity. So that way we know exactly who's saying what, you know, and then we can come after them. You know, so it's all part of their plans. All right. And people are going for it hook, line, and sinker with this guy Trump, you know, at the head of it. Okay. It says here, Gill Bates, the tech billionaire with a history of meddling in our lives, is at it again. This time, he's building a so-called smart city in Arizona. And we know smart cities are actually, the reality of it are known as slave prisons. All right, slave prisons / prison cities. Okay, and once we're done with this article, I'm gonna get a little reading on the whole plan of this whole smart city shit. All right, this grid, you know, ran by AI and so on and so forth. And we said it back, I'll say about a month ago, when this whole California fires really started, you know, a few weeks ago. You know, we mentioned how, you know, smart LA, right? They have all these plans and ultimately what they're going to turn it into, right? Take away all those privatized buildings. Remember, you own nothing and you be happy is a goal, right? So they break down all these buildings, burn them all down, and then rebuild it and make it into like building complexes, apartment building complexes where they're going to house a lot of these people. So these building complexes then become the modern day or the futuristic form of the concentration camp. Right, it's no longer going to be some place where, or you're going to be sent to a sea camp. You know how we think of it now. Okay, it's going to be more of your house becomes your concentration camp. You know, you have cameras everywhere monitoring everything you do, say, Big Brother shit. You know, as in like 1984. You know, your Alexa listens to what you say because you literally talk to it. You know, it listens to your conversation. It records all these things. And you know who's behind recording all these things, huge in surveillance? The CEO of Oracle, Larry Ellison. Okay, and Lord willing, we're gonna go into his business as well. You know, damn demons, man, running all over the place. So continue, it says, this time he's building a so-called smart city in Arizona. But what's unfolding around this project will make your blood boil. Insurance companies are canceling wildfire policies in key areas across Arizona, echoing the same sinister playbook we saw in California just before catastrophic wildfires. And Arizona gets really hot. You know what I'm saying? During the summertime, it gets pretty hot. Okay, and I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, just like in California, we start seeing some mysterious fires just start wiping people out. Houses and so on and so forth, right? It says, are we on the brink of a new disaster? Is this part of a larger land grab scheme by billionaires and corporations? The evidence is mounting, and it's nothing short of terrifying. Gill Bates is pouring millions into a 24,800 acre plot near Phoenix, Arizona. His plan? Build a high-tech smart city straight out of a dystopian nightmare. While he promises innovation and sustainability, something deeply suspicious is happening behind the scenes. Wildfire insurance policies are being canceled or priced so high that locals can't afford them. Sound familiar? That's because that's exactly what happened in California just before devastating fires wiped out entire communities. And who benefited? Cui bono, right? Not the hardworking Americans who lost their homes, but the wealthy elites who swept in to buy up land for pennies on the dollar. Okay? Let's take a hard look at what happened in California just months before the Los Angeles fires State Farm canceled 1,600 policies in Pacific Palisades. This wasn't a one-off. Statewide, 72,000 policies were axed in 2023, leaving families defenseless. Farmers Insurance didn't just cancel policies, they turned them into an unattainable luxury. In fire-prone areas like Pacific Palisades, premiums skyrocketed from about $4,500 to $18,000 a year. Damn. Shit. Many residents had no choice but to let their policies lapse. Then the fires came, leaving them with nothing. And who was ready to pounce on the ashes? The tech billionaires and corporate investors who turned tragedy into profit. Again, cui bono. Okay? Who stands to benefit? The ones who create the problems tend to be the ones who always have a solution. Okay? And then they leave you in the midst while you're thinking about, oh, what happened? You still thinking about the problem. These niggas is forcing a solution down your throat. And you never even thought about the solution. You never even came up with it. You were never even part of those who, even communicated about this so-called solution that you have been forced to have to accept. Because if you don't, then you're an anti this, and you're not supposed to be in society because people like you are harmful to society. It's all a whole bunch of BS, man. It says, fast forward to today. It's January 28th, 2025, and Arizona is beginning to feel the same burn. Reports show Progressive Insurance is canceling wildfire policies in Phoenix and surrounding areas, eerily mirroring what happened in California. The timing couldn't be more suspicious. As Gill accelerates his plans for a futuristic city, insurers are pulling out of key areas. If disaster strikes, who will pick up the pieces? Spoiler alert, it won't be the locals. Just like California, the vultures will swoop in to claim the land. All right, and who's typically behind this type of stuff? Of course, the Jays. All right, that's why they're able to have people in so-called power positions make certain decisions that go into effect in the terms of law that people have to abide by. And then anytime you mention it, they pull their hand back and say, "Oh, you see, you're anti-Sem. You're talking against us." Blah, 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 blah. Most people who are in the U.S. government today all serve the interests of the Jays, whether you know it or not. Okay, you're voting people in who are not here to serve America's interests or the interests of the Americans. No, they're only here to serve the interests of the Jays. Okay, and that's just what it is. All right, so continue, it says, and let's not ignore the fact that these policies aren't being canceled in random locations. They're targeting areas that could be critical to Gates' plan. This is strategic, calculated, and downright chilling. All right, let's get a quick precept. Oh, Esau. These devils, they just don't understand. Well, they do understand. It's just people don't understand. That's why they're able to go along for so long doing all these things. But ultimately, the Lord said, the Apostle Paul said, only he who letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. All right, so the Lord, is the one who's allowing these devils this long time period of wickedness upon the face of the earth. To the point where these devils actually say to themselves, "Oh, we're gonna keep on going because he who is in heaven, he ain't watching. He doesn't see what's going on." That's in I believe Psalm 10. Oh, he's not looking at what we're doing here. So let's keep on going. Scripture says, "He that sitteth in heaven shall laugh." Right? Let's get that real quick, and then we're gonna go back to what I was gonna pull out earlier. Let me see. Right, there's a book of Psalm chapter 10 verse 4. It says, "The wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts." Right, so Gill Bates, what he's planning to do, clearly, I'm gonna take this land from people, but I'm gonna do it in such a way that, if there was a righteous God in the heaven watching, he wouldn't approve of this. But in my mind, they ain't no God. I am the God. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do whatever I want to do anyway. And that's the mindset of Esau. Let me see. Right. So you jump down to verse 11. Right. It says, he hath said in his heart, the Most High hath forgotten. He hideth his face. He will never see it. Right. That's their mindset. That's why now they do these things out in the open and hoping that, oh, ain't nobody going to see this. You know, and then the prophets come out and talk about it and they say, oh, see, these guys are just haters, man. These guys are just anti this and anti that. You know, we got to demonize them. We got to call them black. You know, we got to do everything in our power so that people don't listen to them because they're actually telling the truth. And if people listen to them, they're going to put the pieces together and come after us. See? So let's demonize them with the media so people don't listen to them or take them seriously. You know, because they're the real threat. All right. Hey, cut it out. So continuing, it says, Gill Bates, smart city sounds like, oh, it's like it. Go back to what I was going to bring out earlier. Okay, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 5, and verse 8. It says, woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place. It says that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth, right? So it's not enough that the Lord blessed them with the fatness of the earth, meaning the best of the earth. All right. When you go into these Edomites neighborhood, man, bro, they're living life. The cars they driving, right? The kind of jobs they have, the kind of houses they live in, you know, the kind of lifestyle they live. They got it all. You know, they got it all, man. These motherfuckers travel to all kinds of different exotic parts of the earth. And some of us have never traveled outside of America before. You know, some brothers have never stepped foot out of the state that they're in, you know, but Esau, bruh, they go to so many different places. And what do they do over there? What do they do over there? They go over there, find out what's going on, and then they weaponize everything there. They destroy it and then they weaponize it. That's all he does. How do you have such a beautiful creation, which is the earth and everything in it, and you manage to destroy it? Like, what type of creature are you? You know, I remember a few years ago, the Elder Atazwam, right, did a video going into like the coral reefs and stuff like that underneath the ocean. You know what I mean? And how through the chemicals and pollution and all that, it's like discolored. You know, you got all the sea creatures getting tangled in nets. You know, they catch some of them, they open up their insides and it's all filled with you know, trash and all kinds of stuff, man. You know, there's no life underneath the ocean. Like, they just destroying it. These niggas be doing nuclear missile tests and all that. It lands in the ocean. All that radiation, you're killing off all the animals, man. That's what this devil is all about. You see? That's what they do, man. They destroy everything. They pollute the air. They pollute the water. You know? They destroy the land, the earth, right? The people in it, the animals. See? That's why scripture says what? The whole entire creation is groaning. Okay, and they're waiting for the righteous men, the sons of the Most High, to come back and inherit the earth, because the earth goes towards with the vibration of the Israelites. Okay, when the Israelites are back on top, the earth is in its best shape ever. Okay, but once the Israelites are taken down, the earth is also brought low. The vibration of the earth is brought low because it dances to the tune of the sons of the Most High. You know. So, man, Esau got a lot to pay for, right? He got a lot to pay for, man. All right. And they don't think that day of judgment is going to come, but we're fast approaching that time, man. You know, Job, the 20th chapter explains it perfectly, you know. So let's continue with this fraudulent piece of shit, Bill Gates, right? It says, William Henry Gates. That's his so-called name, right? We don't know if that's his real name, but that's his name. All right, so we're gonna call him Gill Bates. Gill Bates. All right. He says, smart city sounds like a tech utopia, but let's call it what it really is: a land and power grab of epic proportions. This isn't about innovation; it's about control, right? Total control. Okay. By monopolizing infrastructure, water, and energy, Bates is setting himself up to own the future of Arizona. And here's the kicker. Wildfire insurance cancellations play right into his hands. By pricing residents out of their homes or leaving them uninsured for disasters, Bates and his billionaire buddies, right, can swoop in and claim the land they need to build their dystopian paradise. Right? This is in progress. It's a hostile takeover. Okay, and the people are, again, if they were to come out and openly come after your land, people will revolt against that to a degree. Right? There'll be some form of resistance. Because even though America is mostly filled with dullards and passively obedient people, you still have some in the midst around that will step up and defend against whatever they believe in. They would even go take arms if that's what it requires. And the government knows that. That's why they're setting up a strategy to round up everyone who have a spirit of resistance in them before they roll out the so-called New World Order. They're doing a soft coup with social media, right? Mainstream media and so on and so forth. But ultimately, they're gonna come in full-fledged, full force with the military. Okay, they got biological warfare, all kinds of stuff, man. Fully autonomous weapons, drones, all kinds of shit, man. So it's gonna get real dangerous very soon, man. You see. All right. You got Bev Bezos too. He's also part of those billionaires that want to create this whole so-called utopian world and so on and so forth, where they have all the power and they rule everything. Larry Ellison, like I mentioned earlier, his shit is, we gonna change behaviors. Citizens are gonna have to behave. They're gonna be on their best behavior because we're gonna have surveillance everywhere, watching everything you do, listening to everything you say. He said police is gonna be on their best behavior, because we're gonna be watching everything they do. Even when they use the bathroom, they're gonna tell us they're not gonna have the power to turn off the camera. They'll have to call and let us know, hey, I'm trying to use the restroom here. I need privacy. And then they're gonna turn it off for you. But he said, this nigga, he's so proud. He said, rather than, this is Larry Ellis I'm talking about. He said, but we're not gonna turn off the camera recording. It's still gonna be recording, right? So that way, we just not going to be able to watch it or look at it. It's just going to be locked and stored in a database somewhere. And the only time we can access that kind of footage is from a court order. In case something happens and we do an investigation and you say, oh, I'm going to a restroom, so turn off the camera, but you're not really in the restroom. Well, with a court order, we could go back and get that footage and really watch and see what you were really doing when you was on your so-called break. But in your mind as a police, you think they turned off the camera, so ain't nobody recording. But this nigga is telling you, no, we still going to be recording. We just not going to be able to get access to it unless there's a court order. Yeah, right. Fuck out of here. But this is the bullshit they're coming up with, man. They're trying to convince people that your imprisonment and no freedom, you own nothing and you be happy type energy is the best solution, is the best thing that can happen to you. But let me get this real quick here. I got a little reading I want to do. I'm going to jump it real fast. It's quite lengthy, so I'm going to run through it fast. And it all ties into what's actually happening now and what's to come in the very near future. Okay, we're talking months. All right, not no years. No. They say 2030, but by 2030, you own nothing and you be happy. It takes a lot to get to that point. A lot of destruction to get to that point. Okay, but it says, here, it says elite agenda for eco-enslavement. All right. Chilling future scenario funded by banks and oil companies depicts authoritarian cities where only the wealthy will be allowed to eat meat, drive cars, and choose their own career, all in the name of preventing non-existent global warming. Right now it's called so-called climate change, which we did a lesson on that when they go into climate change, it's not really about the weather per se. Okay, it's more about the climate, meaning the state of the earth. Okay, the state of the earth changing. We're going from the third industrial revolution to the fourth industrial revolution. Okay, so the whole entire world is going to change. That's what they mean by climate change. Okay, so it says not content with depicting children being slaughtered in the name of preventing non-existent global warming, climate change alarmists are embarked on a new... Hey, boy, cut it out. It says climate change alarmists are embarked on a new propaganda campaign lecturing us all about how we will be forced to live in a planned opolis where car use will be heavily restricted, CO2 emissions will be rationed, meat will be considered a rare delicacy, the state will decide your career, and only the mega rich elitists enforcing all these new rules and regulations will be exempt from them. So, smart LA, that's exactly how it's going to play out. Okay, boy, cut it out. All right, so that's exactly how it's going to be once they're done rebuilding what has been destroyed. Okay, it says, browbeating us about the only solution to expensive fossil fuels is to enforce a tightly planned and controlled system. The infomercial goes on to tell the story of what life will be like in 2040, right? So 10 years removed from you own nothing and you be happy again in their monkey ass, warped ass, vile ass, vain ass minds. That's what they think, right? 2040, through the words and actions of subservient, obedient slave named V, who dutifully acquiesces to the necessity of the new ways of things, or the new way of things, which is the so-called New World Order. Okay, even as Britain shivers under its coldest December in 100 years, and as places as far flung as southern China suffer unprecedented bouts of freezing rain and cold weather. Yo, get out. It's like you 1 second. Out. All right, let's continue. It says, even as Britain shivers under its coldest December in 100 years, and as places as far flung as southern China suffer unprecedented bouts of freezing rain and cold weather, and as the onset of a new mini ice age causes mass die-offs of sea life, the entire piece produced by the Forum for the Future group is veiled in debunking rhetoric about CO2 emissions causing rising temperatures. We soon begin to learn what living in the new planned apocalypse will look like. Food and water is regulated and rationed by a global food council, which seizes total control over farming. And that's what Gill Bates is he's trying to do. Okay, shifting everything to 3D printed meat and so on and so forth, right? It says meat is a rare treat only to be enjoyed on special occasions. The state decides what job will be with designated career announcements. It's like it says the state decides what your job will be with designated career announcements. Nobody has a choice to decide their own vocation. Movement and behavior is controlled by a calorie diet card going into your the social credit system, right? You got, I think MasterCard is pushing for that right now as we speak. You know, they're giving out this new card that tracks and calculates your, what did they say? What I think they said their results. No. The carbon emissions of your spending, right? So everything that you buy, you know, it tracks it and it says, oh, you bought 2 pounds of meat this month. That brought out that's equivalent to 100 carbon emissions or whatever, you know. So your score is going to drop by 2 points, you know, shit like that. It's all part of the control. You know, they use convenience to become a weapon, man, to become your prison, you know. So movement and behavior, right? What's this guy, Larry Fink? He talked about forced change in people's behavior, right? So movement and behavior is controlled by a calorie credit card linked to a smartphone that rations and the amount of travel the citizens of Slavepolis or Slavopolis, Planopolis, are allowed to make. Private ownership of cars will be banned for non-elitists because the state knows they just aren't practical anymore, right? And that's why you're seeing this. Almost every car company is pushing this new concept of EV, electric vehicles. Because with those you have to actually charge. Now, what happens if these private companies are the ones who own the charging ports, which they do, right? They do. So now you gotta go to them to get your shit charged, right? Now, what if you say something or do something that goes against their feelings or their thoughts, right? Now you can't charge your shit. Your shit is dead. You can't move. You can't drive. You can't go anywhere. So hey, they're pushing that. You see, they're not really driving no electric vehicles. You should go tell that to John Kerry. He got private jets and shit flying around talking about, hey, people shouldn't really be flying too much. Meanwhile, you flying private jets. That's the devil for you. All right. So continue. It says, of course, none of these. One more thing I was going to say. Remember, they're doing a lot of these roads, right? I went down to the city. It was the last week or the week before, and a lot of these roads have been done. And I remember a few years ago, you had you go on the street. It's like two lanes, right? Ongoing traffic, 2 lanes. Incoming traffic, 2 lanes, for the most part, right? They redid these roads, and they created a bus lane, right? Basically the part where people would stand, like the bus stop, for example, takes up a whole lane, right? And then next to that lane is a bike lane, big ass bike lane. And next to that lane is a bus lane. So when it's all said and done, the cars get only 1 lane to drive through. Private vehicles and so on and so forth. You just 1 lane. You went from 2 lanes, big ass lanes, to just 1 lane. And then the rest of the lanes is a bus lane, bike lane, and then where people go and stand to get on the bus. Like what? And it's all congested, and then when you get to certain parts, it's for cars to park on the side. Some cars could even double park. I'm like, yo, what? And it lines up perfectly with Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, and so on and so forth, where basically roads and communities are going to be done away with, and they're going to replace it with just bike lanes. So everyone's going to have a bike, which you rent, you don't own, right? Because cars give emission, right? They emit carbon into the atmosphere, and that could be, that's a problem for climate change, but bikes don't. You riding a bike, you're not blowing no gas or smoke out your exhaust. See, so that's their excuse, that we're saving the planet, so therefore we have to do these things, but it's all BS if you really know what's going on. Right, says, of course, none of these new rules will apply to the rich elitists, enforcing them on the rest of us, right? It's made clear in the ad that the wealthy will still be able to roll around in CO2 belching cars whenever they like, while everyone else is forced to get government permission and be allocated a time slot in which to use restricted vehicles provided by the Slick Travel Corporation. One thing that you always got to remember is how much of a devil these people really are. Okay, they talk about doing away with CO2, but bro, that there's a reason why we got trees, bro. The trees need CO2. So if you do away with us producing carbon, you talking about carbon. Guess what? Humans are made out of carbon, right? So when you say we want to, bring our carbon emissions down, in other words, you're saying we have to depopulate. That's exactly what you're saying. Okay? Because what is causing all this carbon emission? And that's what Gill Bates was saying. Remember his TED talk? The population, the emissions, and then so one more thing. And he said, well, pretty soon one of these will have to drop down drastically. And then he went into it and he said, well, if we have good Vanessas and effective eugenics, whatever, we could bring down the population for about 10 to 15%. See? So he's openly said it. I mean, the guy's not hiding it. He says what he says. So it continues, says, it makes so much sense, doesn't it? Insists the smiley-faced slave V, who enjoys the fact that she can switch off brain and go to work, adding, with this many people around, I'm glad there's a mega computer in charge, right? That's what they're building to right now. Elon Musk with Neuralink, right? You're going to have a brain chip in your head and it could help you do all these crazy, miraculous, cool things, right? But who's controlling all that? Meanwhile, he came out and said, yes, we're creating brain chips so we can control you. Boom, that's it. And then the person who's interviewing him starts laughing. That's crazy, man. I can't believe it, you know? And he got straight like, yeah, I know, it's crazy. That's why we're going to do it. Crazy. It says, of course, for those who resist and still cling to some semblance of freedom in defiance of the state and supercomputers running the slave grid, there's the quote-unquote cry freedom ghetto. Prison camps for malcontents who are blocked from getting jobs, accessing high-speed transport, or the internet. Okay? And that's for those of us who don't comply, all right, with this new way of living. All right, that includes taking that MOTB. Okay? It says, in a chilling throwback to the concentration camps of, I'm going to skip that. I'm going to skip that part. All right, that's, these devils, you know, they come after you very aggressively whenever you bring out anything that's, I guess, their stupid narratives of that whole Nazi stuff. But we'll skip that. It's not really that important. Let me see. Yeah, I think that should be it. We're gonna pause right there. All right, I think the point is made. Okay, that all this. Let's see something. Yep, the point is made. All this stuff that you see going on with California, now they're talking about Arizona. We just read it, right? There's a reason. There's a plan. There's a plan behind all this. It's not by coincidence. It's not just random fires. Oh my goodness! And then these people just happen to be the ones to come in and have a solution. No, this is all planned. All right, and they're just rolling out their plans because they've told you. See, but stupid people say, "Oh, that's just a conspiracy theory." When they come out and they tell you, and you don't listen, and they come out and they do it, you got nobody to blame. Okay, let's get that real quick. And nobody's gonna feel bad for these people, man. I want to keep him. Right, this is the book of Psalm chapter 64 and verse 8. It says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. Right. So when you see these things, or when you hear them talking like how they talk boastfully and proudly, like they're invincible. Meanwhile, a disease could take them out. You know what I'm saying? The Lord could have them get into a nice little accident in their stupid little cars that they be driving and planes that they be flying in. All right, going towards their meetings that the wicked ass gay meetings that they be having. The Lord could just jack them up, right? But He's reserving the wicked, right, for His wrath. Okay, so we're not worried about it. But for those of us who pay attention to these things, we know this is what they're planning to do. But those who have no idea what the hell is going on, what do they say? That's just a conspiracy theory. You guys are crazy. You think this is actually what's going on? Meanwhile, they're living it. But you wait till when Esau comes in full-fledged, full force and start grabbing people up into sea camps, right? You know, the food shelves in the markets are emptier and emptier and emptier, and people are starting to get more aggressive by the day. And Trump is revealing his horns more and more. It's not going to take long, right? When you start to see, like, damn, what the fuck? Like, this nigga, you know, like, I thought he was here for us. Like, we voted for him. Well, guess what? They put him in there so he can carry out their agenda. And part of the agenda was to make you believe he was here for you, right? You knew I was a snake before you took me in, right? There you go. So when that snake bites, you know what I'm saying? Don't get mad. Who shall pity a charmer, right? Who shall pity a charmer, man? You know, when a snake finally bites your ass, don't get mad. Okay, because you were warned. Yo, that's a snake, by the way. That's a snake. That's a snake. Yeah, you chose to believe what you wanted to believe. All right. But anyway, just want to put this out there real quick that, hey, we might end up seeing Arizona being the next state that's going to start getting hit with all these mysterious fires. And if that happens, if and when that happens, we're not going to be surprised. We're going to say, yep, we talked about it. This is what they're doing. This is what they're trying to do with all this happening. All right. So I'm leaving it off there, Lowell, and you're edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachak Wadash, the water Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, and until next time, Shalom.